I'm Sam Barrows, Director of Research and Development with Nostrum Energy, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Alma Combustion Analyzer. For starters, let's talk a little bit about what combustion analysis is and what it can do for you. We all know how an engine works. I'm going to stylize my engine here with a spark plug, cylinder, piston, connecting rod. So in combustion analysis, the first thing that we do is we replace the existing spark plug for an instrumented spark plug. And this instrumented plug has a pressure transducer on it. That transducer allows us to read the pressure inside the cylinder. And it looks something like this. So this is what you would see if you're turning an engine over or motoring the engine with a pressure transducer inside it. This is the compression, this is the expansion, and the two look the same. Now, if we add fuel and we ignite the fuel, we find that the pressure trace looks asymmetric. This is our point of ignition, and now there's going to be combustion. And the work performed is the difference between the area underneath the compression curve and the expansion curve. But you don't actually need to know this to calibrate an engine. This is all very interesting, and anyone who's gone through engineering school will be familiar with it. But as a calibrator, what we really care about is when should ignition occur? And also, is there anything happening in the combustion chamber that I should know about? So there are two types of abnormal condition: misfire, which I think you don't really need a combustion analyzer to know is happening. But the other one is knock, and that one we really care about. And the problem with knock sensors is they are essentially microphones bolted to the side of the engine block. And these microphones are listening to noise, which could be knock, but could also be valve train noise or an idler pulley, any sort of chain slack, or even a very interesting case that I saw once was a rally car driving on a gravel road. And as gravel bounced off the road and struck the underside of the engine, it registered as knock. Knock sensors are fundamentally imperfect ways of seeing and understanding knock. But if you have a pressure transducer in the combustion chamber, now knock looks like this. And even more so than that, the combustion analyzer has a knock metric. It will tell you the intensity of the knock. So as a calibrator, as you start inching up towards a region where the engine can begin to knock, you'll be able to see it before the knock sensors even pick up on that. And you can quantify the knock intensity. So you can understand, for instance, that perhaps a very light knock at light load is something to be aware of, but heavier knock or knock occurring at very heavy loads is something that you need to address immediately. Even better than that, the combustion analyzer has CAN bus integration, which means you can bring in the knock amplitude into your standalone ECU, such as a Motec or a Syvex, and you can see it in real time. And with custom programming, you're even able to use the knock intensity to change things such as ignition timing, air-fuel ratio, or set up a fail-safe, where once knock occurs, the knock monitoring of the combustion analyzer will tell the ECU to stop fueling the engine. Let's take a moment and let's talk a little bit more about ignition timing optimization. Now, as a calibrator, most of us have done work on the dyno, and we've all had the experience of putting a car on the dyno and doing dyno pull after dyno pull, making small changes, and seeing whether the changes that we have made have increased power or not. And many times, when to stop becomes an issue of, have I spent enough time doing this, where maybe I'm starting to become concerned about engine longevity? Have I gotten to the point where I'm no longer making power? It's perhaps more an art than a science. But with combustion analysis, you're able to know within one single dyno pull exactly where you are in ignition timing optimization, because the combustion analyzer has an output called MFB50. And MFB50 is the crank angle duration at which 50% of the air-fuel mixture has burned. Empirically, we know that with an MFB50 of 9 degrees, ignition timing is at MBT. In other words, we are running the maximum amount of ignition timing for the highest possible efficiency and highest possible torque. So I can do a dyno pull in a car, or even better, we could do a part load optimization study where I look at my MFB50 at part throttle, something that you would not really be exploring on a dyno, and see how far away you are from MBT, make a timing change, and get the car right up to MBT within 1 or 2 dyno pulls. In other words, combustion analysis is able to dramatically lessen your workload and speed up the time to calibration. It's also able to give you higher quality calibration and do it in a way that's much safer for the engine, because you can baseline an engine and see what the maximum pressure in the cylinder is, make your calibration changes, and instead of tuning, let's say, to a torque limit, for example, you can tune to a pressure limit, which is a much safer, much better way of calibrating an engine and ensuring that you never overstress the factory components.
Hi, my name is Chris Adoba, and I'm a calibration engineer here at Nostrum High Performance, and I'm with you today to talk about the Alma Automotive Combustion Analysis System. At the heart of the system is the Miracle M2. You can think about this as the ECU in the system. It is the data acquisition system. If you're familiar tuning with stock ECUs, you might be familiar with sampling rates of 10 to 15 hertz, or even the most state-of-the-art aftermarket ECUs can only log at 100 hertz with a few signals measured at 1000 hertz. This acquisition system here can log multiple pressure transducers at 400,000 hertz, meaning that you won't miss any of your measured data. Additionally, this system includes onboard storage, meaning that it can save your data without a laptop connected, and it can be downloaded at a later time. Additionally, it also has CAN integration, meaning that it can export its measured parameters directly to your ECU. Moving on to the charge amplification system, this system converts the signal from your pressure transducer into a voltage that can be measured with the data acquisition system. This is a modular system. It has multiple charge amps. In this case, we used a 6-cylinder engine with 6 pressure transducers, so we have 6 charge amplification modules right here, as well as the Mastro module that ties it all together. The setup of this system is relatively simple. All it needs is a map signal from your engine ECU, as well as cam and crank and 12-volt power, and finally a signal from 1 or up to 12 pressure transducers. For more information on this product, please visit nostrumshop.com.
Okay, so we're gonna switch back and forth from PFI to DI, and you can see the combustion stability change. It's very dramatic. You can hear it in the exhaust. That's my favorite part. Will. You can see the impact that it has. See the pressure coming up. Can you get on the car?
Yeah.
Put the car in 4th gear and just hold like steady throttle.
Yeah.